everyone, welcome to the next in the series of Christmas cards for 2015. Today I wanted to share with you a really simple card using some new products that I bought the other day. So they're word dies or script word dies. So I picked these up, they were on special at my local Spotlight store, and there was a few different ones to choose from, but I chose the Lovely and the Happy because I thought that they were quite versatile and could be used on both cards and scrapbooking quite easily. So we're going to use the Happy script die today, and this card is inspired by a video Tim Holtz did around script dies. And so what I've done is actually taken this die and run it through my die cutting machine with some glitter paper, and I've popped out the word happy. Now, because this is so fine, it can be quite difficult to get the text out, but the great thing about these Heidi Swamp dies is that they actually have holes in there, so you can actually push the script die out. So that's what's been cut out of there. Now, out of the same sort of paper, with obviously a blue version, I've also punched a couple of snowflakes that will go onto the card as well, just using a snowflake punch that I had. And what I'm going to do, because some of the embellishments are quite shimmery, I wanted a shimmery card, but I didn't have any in the square sort of cards that the size that I was hoping to make. So I'm actually going to turn this just plain piece of cardstock into a shimmery card. So I'm going to show you how to do that first of all. So I'll move everything to the side because it's going to get a bit messy. So I've got a piece of paper towel that's going under there, and I'm just going to move my papers off to the side so they don't get wet. And what I've got is, I've just got one of those mini mister bottles. You could use any spray bottle that you have, and I've put water in there, and then I've added just a small amount of perfect pearls, and this is going to make my own pearl mist. And so once you pop that in there, and I usually sort of make up a whole tube and then use it as I need to, so there's already some in there. And then what I do is just shake that up, just because the perfect pearl settles to the bottom, so you need to make sure that it's all spread out nice and evenly. And I'm just going to spray, try and be fairly sparing with the spray, just because we want it to dry in time to do the card. But I'm going to do both sides of that, and then I'm going to set that aside, just pat it a little bit before you do, and you could use your heat tool to dry this. And I'm just going to, actually I just realised I haven't turned my light on, so just a moment while I do that. There we go, hopefully you can see a little bit better now. Just going to show you, not sure if you can see the shimmer on that card on video, but it is quite a sort of shimmery card now. So I'm just going to put that aside with the paper towel while I pull together the rest of the card. So make sure your surface is dry, and that paper towel did a good job of keeping everything else dry. And then we're going to start piecing together the rest of our card, and then we can add it to the shimmery cardstock later. So what I've got is just a piece of silver cardstock and just a sort of a snowflake paper. I only had this piece left, and it was left over from a paper pack I got in a magazine a while ago. So I've already put double-sided tape on there. I'm just going to peel that off. Now, when you're using sort of silver card, you do need to be careful about finger marks, so I can already see a few there, so luckily I'm going to cover up most of those. But if you're going to have a lot of it on display, it's probably a good idea to try and avoid getting your fingers on there as much as possible. So just centre that. There we go. And then what we're going to do is put a stamp across the bottom. So this is a Christmas sentiment stamp set that I have, so lots of different text and design in there, so I find it quite a versatile one. And I've just taken that Christmas stamp from the bottom there. I might turn it that way. And so I've mounted that, and I'm going to use the Peacock Feathers Distress ink to ink up that Christmas stamp. Nice and generous with the coverage. And then, now it's not going to fit that way, so I'm actually going to put it on a little bit of an angle. So I've made this card, or a similar one, once before, and actually had it as a C5 card and I did it across the bottom. But this time I'm going to adapt it a little bit. There we go. Now that's very wet, so just be careful that you don't touch that while that dries. And then what I'm going to do is get our happy sentiment, and it's going to go across the top there. So one of the ways I find easiest to adhere these kind of very sort of delicate and tiny dies, rather than trying to use glossy accents like I normally would, is just to use a dot adhesive runner, because only the dots will stay where they need to, and then the rest will stay on your craft sheet, and then you can just clean that off later. So just where the sort of curls of the letter end, so because you don't want any of those coming up on you. So, and the bottom half of that as well. Now you could do this in foil if you didn't have glittery paper, but yeah, when I was the last sort of craft show that I went to, they had lots of sheets of glittery paper, so I picked up 4 different colours. Okay, so we're going to lay this over the top. Just want to get the placement right. And we want it to be fairly centred. Stick that down like so, and I'd like it to just touch the wording but not sort of sit over the top of it at all. And then what we've got is our 2 snowflakes. Now because these do have sort of a big bit in the middle, I would use glossy accents to adhere those. And the other thing I do like to do with the snowflakes is to give a bit of dimension, just to bend the edges up a little bit, and then just adhere the middle so that it does actually, that one is stuck. We do have an unblocker there, which is handy to have one lying around with the glossy accents because it does get clogged a fair bit. Okay. And this one is at the end of its life as well, so there we go. Not too much, otherwise it will ooze out the sides. And I think I'm going to put one there and one there, so we'll pop that one up the top. And then this one will go down the bottom. Okay. Now just to finish that off, we could do a couple of different things. The first thing I'm going to do is I've got some white opal perfect pearls, and I'm going to just put a dot of the perfect pearls in the middle of each of those snowflakes. Fairly generous kind of dollop on each of those. There we go. And we could go in with some glitter glue, something like that, and just sort of emphasise the glittery bits across the bottom. Actually, I might do that. So just a clear glitter glue. There we go. So I've got a crystal one here, which will look perfect. And just being careful not to bump anything. And just, there's actually like a little sort of star fleck there. So just tapping where that is, and just a tiny amount just to give it a little bit of extra shimmer. And when it comes to, so there's a line across the bottom on this stamp, and there's also sort of a little starburst at the top. So I'll probably put one on each of those starbursts as well. And you could sort of decorate it any way you like, so you could use the pearls across the bottom and sort of dot pearls on there. You could use, you know, glitter glue, or you could just leave it if you're not sort of into too much glitter, because we've already got the snowflakes and the text. I think that just brightens it up a little bit. Okay, so let's have a look at our cardstock and see whether that's dry enough. It is still a little bit wet, so I probably wouldn't attempt to adhere anything to it now, but if I just place it on there, and I'm wondering now whether you can see that shimmer at all. As it dries you start to see it a little bit more, but if we mount that onto there, and that's our cute little card. So I'll wait till that dries before I mount it on, but you can see that's a really sort of effective, quick and easy card, just using sort of some dies and punches and things like that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.